A very good morning to one and all present here, respected chief guest, distinguished guest speakers, honorable chairperson of the session, esteemed faculty members, research scholars, PG students, and my dear colleagues. I extend a warm and respectful welcome to you all on behalf of the Department of Economics, Canara Bank Chair, and the Economics Research Forum, Karnatak University Dharwad. It gives us immense pleasure to organize this one-day seminar on Union Budget 2026, a theme that reflects the nation's economic priorities, fiscal discipline, and developmental vision. The budget is not merely a statement of numbers, but a reflection of a nation's vision and values. To begin this auspicious program, we seek the blessings of the Almighty. I now invite Lakshmi Rayakoppa to render the invocation. For invoking divine grace and setting a serene tone for today's program. I now request all the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais to kindly come forward and water the plant as a symbolic gesture.
सर सर सचिन सर
Thank you, sirs. A gracious welcome is the first step towards meaningful dialogue. I now invite Shri Sachin Kurde, Secretary, Economics Research Forum, KUD, to deliver the welcome address and introduce the distinguished guests of today's seminar.
Good morning, all of you. Respected Chairperson of this session, Dr. B.H. Nagu sir, esteemed Chief Guest, Dr. N.A. Charantima sir, distinguished guest speakers, Dr. Vinod Anigari sir and Dr. H.H. Purdy sir, respected faculty members, research scholars, students and dear participants, good morning to one and all. On behalf of Department of Economics, Kendra Bank Chair and Economic Research Forum, Karnatak University Dharwad, it's my proud privilege to extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to everyone gathered here for this one-day seminar Union Budget 2026. Karnataka University Dharwad, a NAC A-grade accreditation institution, a university with potential and excellence, for always stood for the critical inquiry and information academic, the dialogue in that spirit. Today's seminar aims to provide a meaningful platform for analyze the interpret and debate policy direction, priorities and economic implication of the Union Budget 2026, especially of the content of growth, fiscal sustainability, social sector, development and inclusive process of this budget. We are deeply honored to have with us Dr. N.A. Charantima sir, a distinguished chartered accountant from Hubli. As our chief guest, his practical insights and professional expertise will gently enrich our understandings of the budget from the fiscal and financial perspective. And Dr. Charantima sir also the alumni of our this department, and what we are sitting in this room, they are also the renovated this room, and they gave big thanks to them. And behalf of all department and Canara Bank and Economic Research Forum, sir, thank you, sir, welcome. We are equally privileged to welcome our eminent resource person, Dr. Vinod Anigari sir, former Director, Center for Multidisciplinary Development Research, CMDR Dharwad, whose scholarly contribution to development economics are widely respected. Welcome, sir. And Dr. H.H. Purdy, Senior Professor and Coordinator of the Economic Research Forum, whose academic guidance continues to inspire students and research alike. To welcome, sir. I would like to place a record our sincere gratitude to our Dr. B.H. Nagu sir, Chairman and Coordinator of the Canara Bank Chair, Department of Economics, for his concern, support, leadership and encouragement in organizing this seminar. Thank you and welcome, sir. Extend a special welcome to all faculties, Dr. Manoj Doli sir, Dr. N.S. Mukdu sir, and our High Court Advocate Raju Shinku sir, ST President, Research Scholar Association Nagraj Chalwadi, Ravi Manoda, and all our Joint Secretary Anand MD and Treasurer Anand Puchari, and who enthusiastically participate here, gives us meaning and such academic delegations. Your encouragement will be today discussed vibrant and fruitful, and scholars and all students also this welcome this part. And with this word, I once again welcome to all dignitaries and participants. Wish you successful, insightful, and thought-provoking seminar. And once again, welcome to all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sachin, for the warm welcome and introduction. We now proceed to the felicitation of our distinguished guests. In line with our commitment to sustainability and environmental responsibility, we are honored to felicitate our guests with a small potted plant symbolizing growth, responsibility and hope for the future. What we nurture today will shape tomorrow. First, we are honored to felicitate Dr. N.A. Charantimat sir, chief guest of today's program, as a mark of our respect and gratitude. So now I request Shri Anand Pujari to offer the sapling to Dr. N.A. Charantimat sir. Next, we felicitate Dr. Vinod Andigeri, former director, CMDR Dharwad, in recognition of his valuable academic contributions and gracious presence. So now I kindly request Basavraj N to offer the sapling to Dr. Vinod Andigeri sir. We now welcome Dr. H.H. Bharani, Senior Professor of Economics, Department of Economics, KUD, as a token of appreciation for his continued guidance and scholarly insights. So now I kindly request Anand MB to offer the sapling to Dr. H.H. Bharani sir. We now welcome Dr. B.H. Nagur, Chairman and Co-Coordinator, Canara Bank Chair, in recognition of his leadership and academic vision. So now I kindly request Veeresh H to offer the sapling to Dr. B.H. Nagur sir. We now welcome Mr. Sachin Kurde, Secretary, Economics Research Forum. I request Abu Bakar to offer the sapling to Mr. Sachin Kurde. In addition, we shall now present a rose to our other dignitaries of the dais as a token of respect and gratitude for their gracious presence. So now I kindly request Sultan and Barsha to offer a flower to Dr. Manoj Rolli sir, Dr. N.S. Mugdur sir, Ravi Deshpande sir, Rajiv Shanku, High Court Advocate, Nagaraj Chalpati, SC/ST President, Anand Pujari and Anand MB, Joint Secretary of this program. Thank you. The Union Budget plays a crucial role in shaping economic priorities and strengthening macroeconomic stability. I now request Dr. N.A. Charantimat sir to kindly deliver the Chief Guest address. Over to you, sir.
ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ದೂರದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ ಏನು ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು.
Good morning to each one of you. Respected Chairman of the Department of Economics, Karnatak University, Dr. B.H. Nagur, respected Senior Economics Professor and guest of honor and speaker in today's deliberations, Dr. Vinod Andigeri, another speaker and senior professor of economics, Dr. B.H. Pardi, and Mr. Sachin, and all the galaxy of faculty members of Department of Economics, students representatives and my dear students. So again, we have assembled today to have a meaningful discussion on the Indian Budget 2026 as presented by the Honorable Finance Minister to our country on 1st of February 2026. And it has become a customary to the on the Department of Economics to conduct seminars and workshops on the Indian budget year on year. So that is very much necessary. And being a Department of Economics and for the students of economics and research scholars, insight into budgetary process and outcome of the budget that is presented to our nation for the year 2026-27 is very much needed. So I compliment the department and all the professors and students involved in this exercise. So as you are aware, India is working, rather functioning in a turmoil world and uncertainty in the economic landscape. Under this background, it has become really complex so far as Indian government is concerned to seize the opportunities elsewhere in the globe and also to bring newer opportunities to the people of India through the policy document that is presented to us year on year, named as Indian Budget 2026. So if you look at the global order of development, you will find that world average growth rate is around just 3.1%. World average growth rate is around 3.1%. And most of the leading economies, like developed economies of USA or UK or other large economies, have been growing to the tune of around 2.5 to 2.8%. Japan is the only country which has registered a negative growth, and other countries of the world also are just near 2.5%. So that is how the global average is around 3.1%. If you look at these statistics, any person would definitely salute India and Indian policies and Indian development agenda towards the achieving Vikasit Bharat by 2047, that India's growth rate is around 7%. It is put at 6.8 to 7%, and economic survey presented to the parliament suggested that India is going to grow around 7.4%. So if you look at the history of India for the last 10 years, the growth rate is definitely more than 5.5 to 6%. So India happens to be the only bright star in the Committee of Nations because of its high growth rate, and that too it has been stably maintained under the leadership of Sri Narendra Modi, and especially during the last 12 years. So when it assumed the economic leadership way back in 2014, India was a fragile 10th largest economy in the world. But now we have reached the 4th largest economy in the world with a gross domestic product of 4.18 trillion, and we are soon going to the 3rd largest economy in the world, maybe after 2 years. So the idea is to make India as a developed economy, and the scenario is really complex. And a developed economy, there are two large economies. One is US, United States of America, with a trillion dollar size, that is $36 trillion size, 36 trillion economy, America. And next one is coming to China, that is about 26 to 27 trillion dollars. And we are around 4.18 trillion economy. Maybe by another 3 years, say by 2030, we may reach around $7 trillion. Where is the gap? 7 trillion to 26 trillion and 7 trillion to 37 trillion. So a large gap is there. So now we want to achieve the Vikasit Bharat by 2047. By that year we should become developed economy. Is it possible? So some economists, after a debate and discussion, they came to conclusion that at least India should grow around 8 to 9% over a period of 10 years. If it goes into that particular scale of development over a period of 1 decade, India may reach a developed economy status by 2047. For that, we have to look into how the development orientation of the Indian economy is contributed by whom or by which sector it is contributed. Again, I am very happy to mention that I come from service sector. Service sector's contribution to gross domestic product as per the economic survey data is 55%. Service sector itself is contributing 55% of the GDP and it is in the number 1 rank. Next comes manufacturing sector, that is around 17%. Unfortunately, we have not been able to reach at least 21% in manufacturing segment. Even after the introduction of Make in India scheme, Make for World scheme, so many other MSME sector, so many reforms have been announced. In spite of that, the manufacturing sector contribution to GDP remained at 17%. And agricultural sector contribution is around 12 to 13%. So together it makes around 80%. These are the three drivers driving the economy. One is service sector, the other one is manufacturing sector, next one is agro and allied sector. 80% it makes. So another 15% is coming from the other MSME, other non-MSME and other sectors. So here big challenge in this particular union government budget proposal is we have to step up the manufacturing activity contribution to GDP at least by 20%. And we have to introduce more productivity in agriculture sector by launching artificial intelligence in harbingering the villagers to go for higher productivity and higher scale in their operations by using latest or innovative technology. With that, we would be able to bring back the better contribution of the agriculture because 50% of the population still directly depends on the agriculture. And agriculture is the greatest employment provider to our country. So therefore, government is of the opinion that we must bring innovation and research inputs to the land from labor, from the lab to labor, land to land, land to the lab to land, that is what, sorry for that. So idea is to bring in the inputs of the research to the how to improvise an agricultural activities. So it is going to support in big way. And one example I would like to take from the Union budget proposal. First time they have given importance to high value products like almonds, coconuts, sandalwood and other cashew nuts. Those products which are high value in nature and they are grown abundantly on coastal belt as well as the hilly area regions. So they would like to promote by way of putting more productivity and bringing more cultivation of the coconuts crop in the years to come. So this is a selective approach one hand, but at the same time it is a curated effectively because more number of coastal belt and hilly zone areas people are depending on this cultivation of the nuts and coconuts and other products. So these are protein rich products. Therefore, instead of importing from America and other developed economy, they want to support agriculture by improving on this cultivation of the high value products. That's a good announcement they have made in the Indian budget. Similarly, two things I would like to mention regarding the key developments in the Union budget. One is the GCC. Do you have any idea about what is GCC? GCC, anybody? Global Capability Center. So they want to promote more of development of the Global Capability Center in India. More particularly, our state Bangalore, Karnataka, state having the capital of Bangalore city, has already 900 plus global capacity centers, GCCs. We want to reach up to 1,000 numbers in the years to come. So what is the significance of this Global Capability Center? Global Capability Center not only bring more capital into our economy, foreign direct investment will be more. And the purpose of the Global Capability Center is to conduct research and to put innovative practices of higher productivity, higher calibration of the intellectual property utilization, and also to improvise on the overall productivity of the products and the services. It may be in aviation sector, it may be high-tech sector, it may be logistics sector, it may be in defense sector, it may be in the skill development, it may be education particular, or it may be another high-end research sector. GCCs have been set up. So now we have around 800 MNCs, multinational companies situated in Bangalore. The very another next city is Hyderabad. Well, not in Bombay, but more of in southern India, Chennai, Hyderabad and Bangalore. So these type of facilities are being set up. So it is hoped that GCC, if it is taken on a right stride of development, it would create more employment in the years to come. So this is nothing but attracting the intellectual capital to this. And it is appropriate announcement as they have made in the budget because of the two reasons. One is Indian population is 60% is around 35 years of age. 50% of the population of India is around 25 years of age. So young India and young aspirations are there, young talent is there. So if they are given a proper platform and mechanism to show their talent for the development of the nation, India would be able to create a lot for the developmental agenda and Vikasit Bharat. With that in view, they have identified GCC to be promoted. And this GCC is, it is a right place as far as Bangalore is concerned, and we must appreciate Karnataka government because they have brought first time new policy and GCC. Karnataka is the only state which has brought in, that is Global Capability Center policy, way back around a year or so, and that is one which is helping for infrastructure support, for contribution of the seed capital, for other incentives. All those facilities are given in the form of a package. So it means scientific way of attracting GCC to Bangalore is taking place. So that is one important aspect, and even economics professionals have got a great role to play. Most of the professionals, maybe chartered accountants, cost accountants, engineers, surveyors, economists, researchers, all these people are very much needed by GCC. Because when the talent is available domestically, foreigners would like to use that talent for developmental activities or functioning activities. But if talent is missing, they may bring from talent abroad that way. So in-house talent is too good because of these developments done. So I am sure that GCC is going to create a landscape for all the other countries of the world, which will definitely be a means to invest. So that is one important point I would like to touch upon. Second important point I would like to touch upon is regarding the support for establishment of the data centers. As of now, Indian IT and ITS services are known worldwide. For the last 20 years, we are back in 2000 when the IT policy was announced in a big way. So India took the lead because of the more number of engineering graduates coming out, more number of management science students coming out, more number of other students coming out from the stream. They have taken up the agenda of IT and ITS development work. So IT and ITS right now is contributing the highest exports to our country. And I am happy that from Karnataka, export of ITS is definitely on a line set. And it has retained the leadership at least for a period of 10 years in terms of export of those services. So this global data center, what the policy calibrates in the Union budget is that if any foreign company or foreign investors establish a data center in India for sourcing the connectivity and services to the rest of the world, including Indians, if they do so, that data center income is going to be exempt for a period of up to 2047. Imagine. At least for 22 years they have announced a 100% taxation exemption through this union budget, which has sent a great signal to the rest of the investors all over the world. At least I have not seen 20 years plus the tax exemption announced in a union budget, because announcement of the tax exemptions is a prerogative of the successive governments. But now they have announced as a fundamental announcement, where in 22 years the same is going to be retained up to 2047, that is up to the stage of Vikasit Bharat. This is a big announcement. International media has covered this one as a very big announcement so far as the Indian government is concerned, because 31.2% is the tax, and plus some other surcharge and all, together around 40% is the tax saving happening for the foreign investor. Here investment should happen in India and data centers should function within India, and it may be for the rest of the world, including domestic requirements. I think this is the apt pronouncement they have made in the Indian budget, because out of 144 crores of Indian population, around 100 crore plus people are using internet. Please note, you and I, 100 crores plus. So when they use more of a internet mechanism for their solutions or for their reaching certain conclusions or anything else, naturally data center plays a dominant role. So data center infrastructure is going to be utilized by all these kinds of people, and even financial data center is very significant now. So infrastructure is going to be created for data storage and utilization by the foreign countries and also Indian nationals to the great extent, and which results in not only technological innovation, technological implementation, one, job creation for the tech professionals, and also creating capex. Now, creating capex for IT and ITS and data center, these are going to be there. They are all called soft capital, where our Indian youth is going to be utilized to a great extent for these services. So these two measures are going to be drivers as far as the Indian budget is concerned for the year 2026-27. I hope these youngsters would take more benefit from these two proposals they have launched. Apart from that, some 2-3 proposals are worth discussing. They have announced around 7 railway corridors. 7 railway corridors have been announced. Out of those 7, 2 are touching Bangalore. Recently, our Central Minister, Sri Prahlad Joshi, has met Vaishnav, Union Minister of Railway and Electronics, requesting him to have one more railway corridor, 8th one, from Bangalore to Bombay. If that happens, it is touching from Hubli to Belgaum and all that down here. More major cities of Karnataka are going to be connected. So that will again help for creation of job as well as infrastructure. So high-speed railway corridors is very, very significant. So that announcement has come, and that is definitely pro-employment oriented and pro-development of the infra. And they have announced a capital expenditure in the Union budget proposal of 12.2 lakh crores. 12.2 lakh crores as against 11.10 crores in the last union budget. Capex expenditure, that is capital expenditure, proposed to be invested over a period of 1 year to create infrastructure or the assets. So that will create again return, means income to the government, and also it will create employment opportunities. So each policy, it is not looked as a silo manner. It has to be looked in a harmonious manner. So therefore they have taken railway corridor expansion. At the same time they have announced capex of 12.20 lakh crores, which are to be considered as hand in hand. Then only we can have a meaningful insight of the budget proposal. Second, very near and dear to us proposal is 5 university complex they have announced. That is called 5 university clusters. Means they want to set up 5 universities in a big cities, wherein those 5 universities of a different specialization in education are going to be set up in the years to come. This is again going to help in development of the downstream educational institutes. It may be state universities, it may be universities approved by the UGC or AICTE, or any other technical institutions, health universities, so on and so forth. Which are the 5 universities? They are not yet detailed. Blueprint is yet to be announced. But this is a good move because 5 university clusters are allowed in this particular budget. Outlay and all that is not so specifically mentioned. But these two are again important. What I want to say, big ticket reforms they announced. The other day, our Honorable Finance Minister, Prime Minister has announced that ever since he took the position as a Prime Minister, way back in 2014, over 350 major reforms have been announced. During the period of 12 years, this government has announced 350 plus major reforms. So this is called Reform Express, he said. In the budgetary word, Madam has used the Reform Express. So like railway expresses, Reform Express. Just to common fellows should know what is that. Therefore they have used the word Reform Express. So reforms are in a big way. That will only help to ease of living as well as ease of doing business. So investors will come when the route is easy. After having come into for investment, they must be happily do the business. Comfort should be more, and also they should live happily. Therefore, ease of living is a part of ease of business. So those things are enshrined in the budgetary proposal, and these two proposals again very significant they have announced. So what I want to mention that big ticket announcements have come. Therefore, they have used the word it is a people budget, not the populist budget. They have not announced populist measures. They have announced people-oriented developmental action. So they have mentioned 25 crore people have been taken out from poverty last financial year. So they want to enable people development and people happiness, people welfare, not populist way, like guarantee scheme which our Karnataka government has announced guarantee scheme. So there are 2-3 ways of criticizing. Economists always criticize that guarantee is a waste. Almost 90,000 crores is going out of the tax-based money. But again, social reformers they say it is a good because those who are not having a proper income, they are assured of 2,000 per month plus electrical units free, this free, that free, 5 frees are there, Every day it comes in paper. So that is also okay. Socialist people say this is good required. But economists always have their own reservations. Statesmen they have their own reservations. So it is a mixed budget, but they have announced. But our NDA government is of the opinion it is a people development, not the populist way. That is what they are taking. So I would like to mention that this through the budget, most of the core sectors have been touched. Maybe animal husbandry, maybe agriculture, maybe export market, maybe MSME. I would like to deal on MSME 2 or 3 proposals. MSME sector is really contributing a lot to the GDP as well as employment creation as well as export market. 30% of the total exports is happening from MSME sector. around 39% of the labor market or the labor supply is generated from MSME, means employment potential, especially small and medium enterprises, rural areas, semi-rural areas, semi-urban areas. Employment potentiality is too good from MSME sector. And capital outlay is reasonable. I don't say it is starved, it is reasonable. Now they have made one announcement that collateral-free loan up to 20 lakh rupees is announced in this budget for small and micro enterprises. If they want to take loan from bank, no collateral security, and a concessional rate of interest they announced. From 10 lakh was the limit earlier, now it is announced to 20 lakhs. And today, Reserve Bank of India one policy statement is available in the paper stating that we will go up to 25 lakh for MSME without any collateral securities. That is there. And apart from that, CGTMS, that is Credit Guarantee Scheme, one loan is there, which is now enhanced from 2 crore to 10 crore. Up to 10 crore you can take loan, provided you are MSME sector with Udyam Aadhar from any of the nationalized banks or private banks, wherein 80% is guaranteed by Government of India, only 15% is the stake of the respective bank. And the rate of interest may be around 10 to 11%. Up to 10 crore, recently I got loan sanctioned 10 crore for my client who came as a technical graduate from USA after studying BTech in India. And bank was pleased to award 10 crore collateral free security loan, and that gentleman was running from bank to bank to get loan. But everybody was asking 50% collateral security. And finally, Punjab National Bank, DGM has got benefit or got assured of this benefit, and he announced 10 crore loan to MSME sector, which is located at Belur industry area. Such initiatives are there. Those entrepreneurs are too good, but they don't have collateral security to provide it to the bank for getting the loan. And now this kind of schemes have come. Bankers will not popularize this. The reason is they want security. How much? 100%? No. 200%, 300% security want. If anything goes wrong, they should not be caught. Their retirement amount should not be caught. They want a happy life, happy living beyond retirement at the cost of the entrepreneur. So therefore, they are very much related with security. So now certain government initiatives are there, schemes are there, where government is not promoting. So please remember, collateral free loan up to 10 crore, CGTM also is very much available. And concessional rate of interest scheme is also announced to MSME, and therefore MSME is going to get such type of assistance from the banks, and they are going to finance their own infrastructure development and making of the products for the India as well as for the export market. So that is another important announcement they have made. Similarly, another 10,000 crores they have put for the MSME. That is a development fund of 10,000 crores, which is invested over a period of 5 years. Each year 2,000 crores is going to be there. MSME development fund. So central government has earmarked on that. So that will help to take innovative process and innovative steps of manufacturing, and by utilizing this particular kind of a infrastructural support initiative. So idea is they have announced big reforms, I do agree, but they are not kick-starting. Means kick-starting benefits are not there. It will take time to understand. So normally budget things will be known to the people of India. At least 3 to 4 months is required to know what it is. And to make a planning for implementation, another 3 months will go. 6 months of the financial year will go off. Next available only would be 6 months. In 6 months, again, proposal and implementation, there are gaps. So financial indicators are there, wherein finance is earmarked, but implementation, you have to see always there is a gap. So what is important is effective implementation is the key for budgetary proposal to be taken roots in the society. So for that purpose, early implementation is very, very important. So I hope you are clear about the general discussion. I think my fellow speakers are going to speak on that. I don't want to touch more on generic aspect. So Union budget, in a way it is a big budget and it is reform oriented budget and it is a balanced budget because it has kept all the sectors in a balanced manner with again growth in the export and growth in productivity. Last part of the general budget I would like to touch upon on the fiscal prudence or the fiscal deficit aspect. So my friends are going to deal, but just 2 or 3 points I would like to mention. The fiscal deficit is around 4.4%, and now they want to take it to 4.3% in the next financial 2026-27. And India's borrowing is stated to be moderate. As per the budget discussion, India's debt to GDP ratio is just 55.1%. 50.1%. They want to reach the target of 50% by 2020. Means they have a target of 50% to GDP as a debt component. What is the scenario worldwide? You must understand, being economics students. Worldwide, average debt to GDP is 92%. Just about 3 days back, data has been published. 92% is the average debt of the countries to GDP worldwide. And I mentioned USA 138% of GDP. China is around 124%. Japan is 218% of GDP as debt. So average is 92% of the global debt to global GDP. What about India? We are placed at the rate of 56.1%. Almost half of the global average debt. So it means what? It means our debt component is not alarming. Our debt component is around 17.20 lakh crores gross debt. Net debt is around 11.2 lakhs crores. So debt is not alarming because of the savings generated by Indians in India and because of the more collection of taxes, both direct and indirect. And this year they have considered 28.75 lakhs crores as the tax revenue. Out of the budget expenditure of 53.5 lakh crores, central government budget size is 53.50 lakh crores. Out of that, 28.75 lakh crores is financed by taxation, both direct, indirect like that. And 17.720 lakhs, I said, it is from the debt, remaining from the non-tax receipts. So here what I want to stress is that financial prudence and fiscal deficit landmark or landscape is well within the control. We can reach those targets because of the robust development of the Indian economy, large domestic demand of the Indians in India, and also greater export potential for our products and services. Added to this, one recent development for last 3-4 months is foreign trade agreements, free trade agreements. Those have happened in large number. Maybe around 25 countries Prime Minister has listed. European Union itself has 23 countries. So like that, recently 2 days back he was in Malaysia. He has signed 5 MOUs for free trade agreement. So Indian government finance minister, Prime Minister is going as ambassador to enable free trade agreements with more of the economies, which means reciprocal market development is happening, export is possible, import also can be taken up, and this is going to help creating a bigger market. So if you look overall, it is possible that we may reach physical consolidation part without much hassle, given inflation is under definitely control. So in a way I can say budget is a growth oriented, balance oriented, high reform oriented. It is a people oriented budget, not populist measure oriented budget. This is what the summary I can make it. Is it clear to you? When you have doubts, you can reserve it. We will discuss when the question and answer session comes. As far as coming to my income tax matters, so being a chartered accountant, sir has asked me to throw more light on the income tax aspect. So luckily, Finance Minister has mentioned very clearly that I don't want to tinker more on the personal income tax or corporate income tax. Because last year, Union Finance Minister has made more on the announcement of the taxation proposal. And last year, she announced that up to 12 lakh rupees total income, no taxation is there for the citizens. Because up to 12 lakhs, she announced a rebate scheme, 87A of the Income Tax Act 1961. So rebate scheme is there, and therefore up to 12 lakh rupees the total income plus 75,000 standard deduction. Up to 12.75 lakhs, no income tax will be paid by the income tax payers in it. This is what is happened already from 1/4/2025 and 31/3/2026 is the first year of operation. Return filing and all will start. Because of this measure, what happened, do you know? Our direct tax collection was growing at the rate of 12.5 to 13% to last year, last finance, 24-25. 25-26 advance tax collection has dwindled, and now growth rate of our direct tax is only 6.8%. Means it has taken a beat by bringing down at least 6% from the last year target. Therefore, tax collection has come down by 1.9 lakh crores. 1.9 lakh crores tax collection is dropped. So this has again enabled our finance minister to maintain same path of personal taxation. She has never announced any single measure in this, but she has made some important announcement on other aspects, which are roughly around 30 proposals Madam has announced. 30 direct tax proposals, both touching corporate as well as personal income tax, they have announced. So, which are very important in nature. Being a students of economics and citizens of India, you must know that we have now embraced the Income Tax Act of 2025. We have embraced Income Tax Act of 2025. It has become a law 6 months back. Now it is put in place. From 1/4/2026, we will find a new Income Tax Act 2025, ITA, Income Tax Act of 2025. Probably you may be studying the Income Tax Act of 1961. So Income Tax Act of 1961, which has lived for about 63 years in our country, is now taken a back seat, and on 3rd of February 2026, Income Tax Act of 1961 is repealed. Income Tax Act of 1961 is repealed officially on 3rd of February 2026. Now we have to go for Income Tax Act of 2025. Therefore, in the Union Budget direct tax proposals, most of the sections Madam is referring to Income Tax Act of 2025, not the Income Tax Act of 1961. But however, there is one section introduced in Income Tax Act of 2025, 536, 5361 residual section, it is introduced, where they say, to the extent feasible, though Income Tax Act of 1961 is repealed, Central Board of Direct Taxes has empowered to apply the provisions of Income Tax Act of 1961 in terms of setup of losses, carry forward of losses, refund matters, arrears collection matter, pending proceedings in appeal and revisions, and also regarding the continuation of the old announcements of incentives on the concessions, to the extent they are reaching a deadline date, sunset date we call it as. Suppose if the exemption was granted under Income Tax Act of 1961 for 5 years, say in 2024 it is around 5 years, means it get over in 2029. Till that sunset date, Income Tax Act of 1961 will continue. So only for a limited purposes, that a smooth transition is allowed by introducing section 536 of the Income Tax Act. So now you must know you are supposed to comply with Income Tax Act of 2025, but not the Income Tax Act of 1961. This is one clarion statement you must remember. And this is going to help all the tax professionals because they have to not only learn new law 2025, Income Tax Act of 2025, but they are also supposed to remember as a working memory of the year of the Income Tax Act 1961. Because for implementation of any provision or to understand the rigor of a new provision in the new act, we have to go back to the history which is laid out in 1961 Act. And now we have got only 500 odd sections in new act. Whereas in the earlier act it was bulky, it was voluminous, it was contradictory, and faced with litigant approach and more decisions of divergent nature were there, and amendments went on doing it, and Income Tax Act of 1961 has become complex. Therefore, they have replaced it by simple decriminalization oriented, means criminalization of the economic offences are minimized, and they want to introduce simple language, and for that purpose they have made certain announcement in the income tax rules. Just 2 days back, income tax rules of 2025 announced. 190 forms are made available out of 330 forms in 1961. And income tax returns are also simplified. And rules are announced, 133 rules are also they are announced. Means speedily they have announced the income tax rules, which will take effect from 1/4/2026. Then, one important point they have announced is, in case of unexplained income or unexplained credit or unexplained expenditure or unexplained investment, the tax rate used to be 60% of the income or 60% of the investment, 60% of the credit. It was very high. Coupled with the surcharge, it used to come around 81%. And penalty, if we had 21%, then definitely it was very high. So considering that what this particular union budget proposal contains is that if any taxpayer comes with the announcement of unexplained credit or investment or expenditure or income on his own by filing a return voluntarily, the rate of tax is reduced from 60% to 30%. Do you understand? If I declare my unexplained investment within the territory of India voluntarily by filing a return, in my case the rate of tax is reduced from 60% to 30%. If by force measure income tax authority assesses your income or investment by making a roving inquiry and investigation, then the rate of tax will remain the same 60%. So means voluntarily if you want to disclose 30%, and if it is forceful by the force of the implementation of the law, it would be around 60%. This is one very important decision they have announced, because it has helped a lot of litigation to be withdrawn. As of now, in the first appellate authority, 5,47,000 appeals are pending. Out of that, 30% relate to this only section. Unexplained investment, unexplained credit, like that. So if this is definitely done in a voluntary manner, you take a benefit of 30%, otherwise pays the 60%. That is the amendment they have brought in. Another amendment they have announced, security transaction tax, which was at 0.02%, and now it is raised to 0.05%. And options premium is raised to 0.15%. Do you know, if you have witnessed the budget on 1st of February, share market collapsed almost 1,300 points in the 1 hour period after the budget presentation, and 17 lakh crores of wealth is eroded, is vanished. 17 lakh crore of the wealth vanished, evaporated in the sky because of this particular provision, STT, security transaction tax. After 3 or 4 days, Trump and Modi announced announced simplified reciprocal tariff of 18% from 50%, then again our Sensex moved positively. 2000 points were up. 22 lakh crores of wealth is generated. Sensex is sensitive. It goes up when the sensitive points are too good. It is comfortable, digestible to investor. When it is not digestible, it goes down. So there is a rocket aspect like it will kill your own investment. So anyway, right now yesterday 84,246 points are there. Sensex. Nifty is also up. Now the market creation, market value of all the stocks is definitely good after the announcement of the tariff war and announcement of the income tax proposals, etc. So another significant amendment they have made in the income tax proposal, that any compensation received on the personal accident, that is under the Motor Vehicles Act 1988, and on the compensation if there is a delayed award, normally courts or tribunal they grant interest. Earlier interest on compensation of motor accident was taxable. Now what they have made amendment, if interest is given on the compensation awarded on account of any individual accident under the Motor Vehicle Act, covered under the Motor Vehicle Act, then that interest is exempt. So that interest whatever received, that is exempt, provided that fellow who is receiving should be an individual. That is what they have put. I don't know why they have put individual, because accidents happens to individuals only. That may be the reason. Or a group of individuals. So it is not happening accidents to entities. Probably that may be the reason. And whatever the interest awarded by the court or a tribunal for motor accident cases, earlier TDS was made available on the interest, but now TDS provision is also removed. No TDS on the motor accident interest claims received or awarded by the tribunal. At the same time, that interest proper itself is exempt from tax. So that is a corollary amendment, no TDS. Then they have another amendment they have made, and we can apply to Government of India for lower TDS or nil TDS or TCS by submitting an application. Wherever you are paying very little tax, in that case, TDS rate itself is absorbent, 2% or 10%. Now we can reduce it by way of getting a consistent rate from the government machinery. Earlier form number 13 was there, now they have announced a new form. So you have to apply it and get the lower rate of TDS and TCS. One more simplified measure they announced. Non-resident Indians were finding very difficult to sell the properties in India. When the properties located in India are sold, it attracts capital gain tax, not ordinarily resident and non-resident. But what happened? TDS purpose, they have to have a TAN number, but it was very difficult to get TAN for non-resident or not ordinarily resident or people of foreign origin. What they have made an amendment, you have already PAN, that is enough, no question of going to TAN. So no two documents are required. If you have a PAN, then you can go ahead and purchase the immobile property, and that particular immobile property must be from non-resident. Property should be located within the territory of India. By using the PAN, you can make a tax payment, no necessity to go for TAN. So these are the important simplification measures they have made. Another proposal they announced in the budget is manpower supply contracts. Nowadays, people are resorting to manpower supply contracts. Why? Because of the stringent labor laws and provident fund laws. Provident fund, yes, everything will be paid by the contractor. So therefore, companies are resorting to outsourcing of the manpower supply. So at least about 50% of the employees in a corporate setup are being outsourced. So manpower supply has become a contractual in nature. So there was a complication on the taxation. Two rates were prescribed, 10% for technical work and non-technical work like that, 2% and 10%. There were confusion what to apply under what circumstances. Now government has come with one announcement of amendment that manpower supply contract is nothing but a work. It is defined as a worker. And all manpower supplies are attracting tax at the rate of 2%. TDS is only 2%. So this amendment is very good, and manpower supply contracts are now rationalized to only 2%. Then friends, rationalization of the due date announced. Due date of filing returns. There are 4 due dates to be noted. One is 31st July, ITR 1 and ITR 2, salary case and other cases, miscellaneous income cases. 31st July is the first due date in a financial year. Second due date they have introduced in the budget. That is non-audit cases and trust cases where the return filing due date is now stands announced to August 31st. Means you can file the return without audit report or without any other requirement of the mandatory audit, that is 31st August. And the next due date is 31st of October for audit cases, company cases, cooperative sectors where audit is mandatory under any law like Cooperative Act 1915 and also. Then you have to file the return along with the audit report. Therefore, the due date stands 31st of October. And last due date, it was 31st December. That is belated return filing. Now that date is retained as it is, but they have announced one more date, revised return filing due date. That is now announced to March, not December. 31st December to it has been taken to March. So till March year 2027 you can file the return, which is called revised return. And one more return is there, belated return, it. And one more is updated return. That is 4-year period they have allowed. 4 years. You can update your return filed earlier. If you found mistake, you can rectify it by paying additional tax. Now that additional tax is reduced from 20% to 10%. You can file the updated return. So how many returns are there in India? Normal return, which is filed under the 139(1) of the Income Tax Act 1961. Now that section is stated in 263 in 2025 Act. 263 normal return. Next is revised return, where you can file up to March. Belated return. Due date was July, assume, but you are now filing in August. That is called belated return. And updated return. 4 years you go back. This financial year to 4 years back. You can file any return with updation, correction by paying additional penalty or additional late fee. That is the scheme. So 4 due dates have been announced. So here the idea is they want to keep chartered accounts very busy every month. July, August was free. Normally people used to go for a trip and all with family during August. Now that date is also tab. Now August also is one more due date now. So July, August, October and December, then March. So CS and all those people, finance people are going to be kept very busy. Okay. So one important announcement they have made, conversion of penalty into fees. See, earlier penalty is levied not as an automatic route, but as a discretionary. Suppose if any reasonable cause is shown to the income tax officer, that penalty would have been waived. Even tribunal or court would have quashed it, cancelled it. But now they have made a penalty into a late fee. Suppose if your books of accounts are not audited by 31st of October, are audited but no audit report is filed in the portal by that date, we used to pay penalty of 1,50,000 after getting the notice from the department, giving a reply for the delay. After having considered the reply, if it is found denied, no penalty would be leviable. But now they have said automatic route. You don't wait for notice, you don't wait for any penalty process, but you pay late fee. How much late fee? If your accounts are not audited or audited but no return report is filed, then you have to pay 75,000 rupees late fee. When you have to pay? By filing the audit report. It is mandatory. Earlier penalty was discretionary. Only after due process it used to be levied. But now mandatory late fee. You pay, then only your return will move, or your audit report will go into the portal. Otherwise, it will remain invalid. So now they have proposed in lieu of penalty, late fee, 75 term government. For up to 1 month delay. If more than 1 month delay is there, you have to pay 1,50,000 rupee penalty. So what happens? They want to convert into the regime of a late fee. Therefore, they have introduced only 2 or 3 provisions now as a sample. If acceptability is put upon the taxpayers, they will announce all the penal provisions into late fee regime and late fee would be collected. As of now, there is a late fee. If you file the return beyond the due date, 5,000 is the late fee. If your income is above 5 lakhs, or 1,000 is the penalty if your income is less than 5, 1,000, less than 5. So 5,000 and 1,000 late fee is there. Similar manner, they want to bring back the late fee regime than the penalty. That is okay. Discretion powers are not there, but nobody is meeting the income tax officer. Everything is for filing and smiling and coming back in your own office only. No meeting anybody. Faceless regime is there. So where is the question of misuse of a discretion? I am not able to understand that, but they have brought in. Idea is to collect more money to the government and put them a late fee mode than the penalty mode. That is okay to my extent. And major corporate amendment they have made, corporate tax amendment. Rate of MAT, minimum alternate tax, is brought from 15% to 14%. Minimum alternate tax, that is when your carry forward loss or your normal taxable income is lower than the MAT income, then MAT will apply. So in those cases, it is applicable only to companies. 15% was the rate, now it is reduced to 14%. So here they have made one amendment regarding MAT credit. Earlier 5 years MAT credit was continued for a period of 8 years. But now they have announced a relief stating that you want to convert MAT credit into new regime and pay out. In that case, you can set up 25% of the tax liability under the MAT credit available, then you can opt to new regime. But from 1/4/2026, MAT credit accumulation will be stopped. Supposing I have 100 rupees available in my MAT credit, government is telling me to set up only 25% of that. Remaining 75% you have to waive. Get it waived. They are not announced in that way, but it means that 25% you can set up, remaining 75% is lost. But what they have done to foreign companies, they have allowed all 100% of MAT credit to be set up. Foreign companies, they have laid a different ball game. And for us, for domestic companies, they have allowed only 25% to be set up in the new regime. So this may amount to discretion. 1 or 2 cases may come up for questioning in the court of law. Then another measure they announced that prosecution, the decriminalization is also one of the main objectives in the finance proposal. So they don't want to punish people who are tax evaders in a big way. They want to simplify economic offense. So what they have made, 2 amendments they have brought. The period of imprisonment with rigorous imprisonment of 7 years is now reduced to 2 years. Earlier for any economic offense in income tax, 7 years was the period with rigorous, rigorous imprisonment. Now that is replaced by 2 years and simple imprisonment. No rigorous approach. And wherever 2-year period was mentioned in the statute, they have now brought it down to 6 months. So it is easy. Let us evade the income tax, do whatever you want. 6 months, no problem. I will be government guest, and I will come back after 6 months. Let me see. Like it is now people are going to Dubai for 6 months, staying there, because 180 days they should be out of India. Then their tax benefits are available in India. Therefore, they are staying 6 months in India. People from Hubli, Dharwad, they have started going back to Dubai. Some of my known friends, now they are not there. No, they are in Dubai. Because of tax heaven, they have gone like that, they are saying. So high net worth individuals are staying in Dubai. So henceforth, they may not stay in Dubai. They may go to jail for 6 months and come back. Like that. So this is a good move in fact, because simple imprisonment they have announced. 7 years to 2 years, 2 years to 6 months. So this is as per as encouraging the taxpayers to come big in compliances and be happy with comfortable living because of the no major this imprisonment tactics. So this is the point. Another 2 or 3 I have just mentioned. I think I have taken more time. See, one more major announcement they have made which has a far-reaching effect. Earlier, buyback of share was. You know what is the buyback of share? If I become a shareholder in a company, I can announce that I want to discontinue my shareholding. Kindly take back my shares. So you can surrender those 2,000 shares of a company. They will give the amount to you. At what rate? At the face value plus some book value or premium, whatever rate, as per the agreed terms. So buyback share is allowed under the company law, Companies Act of 2013, subject to certain conditions. So what Income Tax Act did around 4 years back, any buyback of shares proceedings would be treated as a dividend in the hands of the person who sells shares or transfers shares to the company. It was taxed as a dividend. And against that dividend, if you have taken loan to invest in shares, interest paid on such loan is deductible expenditure from the dividend. Section 57 of the Income Tax Act. But now they have removed. It is no more considered as a dividend in the hands of the person who sells a share. It would be considered as a capital gains. If shares are bought back by the company at a whatever rate fixed, it is treated as a capital gain transaction. Therefore, investor who sells the shares or transfers the shares, for his cases, tax would be levied under Section 45. That is earlier Act, and now new Act section is there. It is taken as a capital gain tax. So this is one way it is good. Here, how to compute the capital gain? That is fair value of the asset minus cost of acquisition results into gain. So if it is a long-term gain and short-term gain, based on that tax will be levied. But average rate of tax is 22%. So for the person who sells a share, 22% is the effective rate. And here they have put 9.5% additional tax. 22% includes 9.5% of additional buyback of tax. So this amendment has come. This also created a problem in the stock market and investors. And later on, Finance Minister came on the press, and CBDT chairman also came on the press and interacted, issued some FAQs, frequently asked questions, and in that they have clarified what to compute, how to compute, and minimal effect has happened. And now the rate of tax for promoter category 22%, non-promoter category 30%. So now it is under capital gain tax. So this is now simplified. So last 2 points that the government has proposed that a stay of tax demand will be allowed to you, provided you deposit 10% of the pre-deposit tax. Supposing disputed taxes say 1 crore, earlier 20% was the tax limit prescribed. You pay 20 lakhs and 1 crore, out of that 80 lakh will be stayed. But now they have announced differently. Out of 1 crore tax dispute which are in appeal, you pay only 10%, 90 lakh will be kept in abeyance till the disposal of the first appeal. This is good. Earlier it was done under the regulatory instruction, that is CBDT instruction. But now it is made as a part of the law, Income Tax Act of 2025. Deposit only 10%, obtain the stay till the first appellate authority proceedings. Later on, if results is different, you can continue to pay the tax. If you win the case, that 10% will be refunded to you. So this simplified category. Last point I would like to touch is disclosure of the foreign assets. If anybody has foreign assets which are not disclosed in India while filing the return of income, for him they have made 6 months window. Yes, you have missed the bus last time, but now you can declare your foreign assets. And if it is above 1 crore, you declare also and pay some tax, whatever is there. Up to 5 crore, you declare it and pay 30% of the fair market value of the foreign assets which are not disclosed. And again they have made foreign assets are disclosed up to 1 crore, they have got some immunity. But if the foreign assets are up to 5 crore, income only declared, foreign assets are not disclosed, then they have mentioned 30% relief of foreign fixed assets. I mean, fair market value of the fixed asset and foreign asset, we can disclose. So this is the immunity scheme, like a settlement scheme came in 2020, Kar Samadhan scheme. Like that, this foreign asset disclosure scheme has come, and wherein you are allowed to disclose those foreign assets within a period of 6 months from the date of notification. Probably it may be from the date which CBDT is likely to announce. So friends, as far as the Corporate Tax and Income Tax Act is concerned, no major amendments are there. This is the words of Finance Minister. But if you look into the devil lies in the fine print, you know it. Devil lies in the fine print. Union budget is a very small one, but this size is there. Yes. Madam has presented it for 90 minutes, and see the size of the Union budget. This big volume has come on third. We issued it on third. So always devil lies in the fine print. See, 30 amendments have been to inaugurate. There may be minor amendments. I am yet to go in detail. But anyway, taxation side, it is a welcome measure. It is going to help in getting more number of payers or tax filers in the years to come. And that rebate point I want to illustrate once again. You cannot avail the rebate of 12 lakh blanket. You have to file the return and get the rebate. Please remember this. If you do not file the return, you will not be able to get a rebate up to 12 lakh rupees. Why they have made 4.6 lakh crores, 4.6 crores people are going away from the net if the provision is made blanket. Out of around 12.5 crore associate, 4.5 crores are in the bracket of up to 7 lakh income. Therefore, they have made it mandatory. You file the return, get a rebate of 12 lakh. It is not a blanket taxation. That is a wise move to retain the income tax filers in India. Anyway, I welcome the budget as far as income tax, both direct tax and personal tax is concerned. There are no much complications they have announced because of the new Act 2025, which has just taken a birth, and we have to implement it from 1/4/2026. And thank you very much for the opportunity given to our department chairman sir and our professors, Anigiri sir, senior economists here, and we are very happy. I am very happy to meet all youngsters. I hope you will read effectively the Indian budget and enjoy the budget. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your enlightening and analytical address. I now invite Dr. Vinod Annigiri, sir, to address the gathering.
Namaskara. First of all, respected Chairman of the Department, Dr. Nagor, and Dr. Janantiman sir. It's a proud privilege to be here because I am a product of the same department. We used to sit here in the same class. But the class was not this attractive and user friendly, and thanks to Professor Janantiman for making this so attractive and user friendly. We used to use these benches, these desks, the same class, long back. So it's an occasion of homecoming for me. I feel proud whenever I'm here in the department. For the benefit of the young students of economics, before going to the issues of budget per se, I know it's time is quite high now. I will not be very lengthy. I will try to compress the presentation because we have two more speakers. So the time constraint is there. Before going to the budget per se, for the benefit of the young students of the economics, Why should we understand the budget is the basic question, right? What is the use of understanding the budget? Budget is considered as a tool of bringing in macroeconomic balance, right? ನಾವು ನೇಚರಲ್ಲಿ ಪಂಚಭೂತಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ, ವಾಯು, ಬೆಂಕಿ, ಆಕಾಶ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗೆ ಪಂಚಭೂತಗಳು ಎಕಾನಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಇವೆ. ಯಾವಿದೆ? ಅಗ್ರಿಗೇಟ್ ಡಿಮಾಂಡ್, ಅಗ್ರಿಗೇಟ್ ಸಪ್ಲೈ, ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ರೋ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ರೋ ಸೇವಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್? ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್, ಮನಿ ಸಪ್ಲೈ. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಪಂಚಭೂತಗಳು, ಇಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಪಂಚಭೂತಗಳು ಅಂತ ಏನು ಕರಿತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. And budget is a tool of bringing in balance between these economic ಪಂಚ ಮಹಾಭೂತಗಳು. ಅದನ್ನ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಇದೊಂದು ಟೂಲ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಐದರ್ monetary policy, fiscal policy, there are so many tools of bringing in the balance in the economic system. Right? That's what the finance minister has tried to do. Before going to that, our ex-students must also understand the subtle distinction between the public finance and the private finance. Right? Budget is a tool under the public finance domain. Right? So if that is the case, what is the distinction between public finance and private finance? In case of private finance, like all our finances of our household, economics is nothing but the study of household transactions, right? Am I audible? In case of private finance, what is the subtle thing is, we know the income. Suppose my household has an income of 60,000 rupees, or your household has an income of 80,000 rupees. We know the income and adjust the expenditure, right? Ask to call charge. So we know the extent of income and try to accommodate the expenditure. But in case of public finance, finance minister they try to estimate the expenditure first. 40 lakhs koti, no, 60 lakhs koti, expenditure estiye. What is the extent of expenditure for this financial year? So looking at the quantum of expenditure, they adjust the income, right? Opposite of private finance. Private finance ನಲ್ಲಿ income ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ, expenditure adjust ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ expenditure ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ನೋಡಿದರೆ income adjust ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. That is the subtle distinction between private finance and public finance. And those who want to content analysis ಅಂತ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀವಿ research, right? ಈ ಸಲ ನಾನು ಬಜೆಟ್ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ it was very hard to find the word poverty. Poverty, ನೀವು ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಅನಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿ ಯಾವ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾವರ್ಟಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಶಬ್ದ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಅನಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್. ಸೊ ಗೋ ಥ್ರೂ ದ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ವೈಸ್ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಫೈಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪಾವರ್ಟಿ. I feel happy that having eradicated the poverty in India, right? Poverty has not appeared on many times in the budgetary analysis, right? And latest, those who want to analyze public expenditure, right? Up to 2014, it was planning commission, and the bifurcation was planned and non-planned expenditures. Expenditures were classified as planned and non-planned. Non-planned doesn't mean unplanned. It was a different category altogether. But 14 onwards, Niti Aayog came and it is capital and revenue expenditure classification. Now, what do you mean by capital and revenue expenditure? At the most rudimentary level, if you buy a scooter, it's a capital expenditure. And if you spend money on fuel or petrol, it's a revenue expenditure. That kind of a distinction, right? So you should be careful in analyzing the capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. One more thing, recently the Finance Commission has submitted its report. There are two financial institutions in India who distribute vertical distribution of resources. One is the Niti Aayog Planning Commission, which used to give the plan funds to the states. And those committed responsibilities outside the plan funds were under the jurisdiction of the Finance Commission. So Finance Commission recently, and Pangalia was the chairman, they have submitted their report. From first Finance Commission to the 8th Finance Commission, the approach of the Finance Commission was understanding the gap filling approach. Gap filling approach the Finance Commission. First Finance Commission is the 8th one. Andre ಏನು ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಫಿಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಇದು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ ಕಮಿಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಆ ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಅನ್ನು ಫಿಲ್ ಅಪ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲರ್ಲಿ ನೋನ್ ಆಸ್ ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಫಿಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್. 9th ಫೈನಾನ್ಸ್ ಕಮಿಷನ್ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ನಾರ್ಮೇಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರು. ನಾರ್ಮ್ ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಮಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ನಾರ್ಮ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕು, ಇಷ್ಟು ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್, ಇಷ್ಟು ನಾರ್ಮ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದ್ರ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ನಾರ್ಮೇಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿ. Bulgaria Finance Commission recently has brought in one more element into the room, and it has given 10% weightage to the percentage of the state to the GDP. What is the contribution of the Karnataka state to the Indian GDP gets 10% weight while devolution of resources. So these are the macro issues which must be kept in mind while understanding this annual tour of the budget, right? We will try to understand that. But before doing so, we will try to know how many documents, current documents are published ಆಗಿದೆ. ಬಜೆಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸರ್ಸೈಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ತರದ ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳು ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ? ಎಷ್ಟು ತರದ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸರ್ಸೈಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಮುಖ್ಯ. ಒಂದೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್. ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ annual financial statement, right? Main budget document showing estimated receipts and expenditure of the government, demands for grant, ministry-wise expenditure proposals requiring parliamentary approval, finance bill contains taxation proposals, appropriation bill authorizes withdrawal of money from the consolidated fund of India, right? It's next one. Explanatory and explanatory and supporting budget documents, expenditure profile, expenditure budget volume 1, expenditure budget volume 2, receipts budget, budget at a glance, memorandum explaining the provisions in the finance bill, fiscal policy strategy statement, medium term fiscal policy statement, macroeconomic framework statement, additional statements and outcome related documents, outcome budget, detailed demand for grants, statement on gender budgeting, SC/ST allocations, other mandated statements. These include gender budget statement, statement on welfare of SCs and STs, statement on climate, child, other priority sectors as applicable. Pre-budget document. Pre-budget document is nothing but the economic survey. So one day before the presentation of the budget, economic survey is published, right? ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಈ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸರ್ವೆ ಅದರ 1ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಬಜೆಟ್ ಬಂತು, ಅದರ ಹಿಂದಿನ ದಿವಸ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸರ್ವೆ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್. ಯಾಕೆ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸರ್ವೆ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನೀವು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋದಾಗ ನಾಡಿ ಹಿಡಿದು ಅಥವಾ ಏನೋ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರಾಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಯುವರ್ ಬಾಡಿ, ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್, ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ ಪ್ರಿಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸರ್ವೆ ವಿಲ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಅಸ್ ದಿ ವೀಕ್ನೆಸಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂಗ್ತ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಎಕಾನಮಿ. ಏನು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆಪ್ಪ, ಏನು ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಈ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ರೋ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ ಇದೆ, ವೀಕ್ನೆಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಚಿತ್ರಣ ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸರ್ವೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಚಿತ್ರಣದ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಜೆಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೊವಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊರತೆ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಹಾಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಹೌ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸರ್ವೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಮೇಜರ್ ಟೇಕ್ಅವೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸರ್ವೆ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಯರ್, ರೈಟ್? ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮೇಜರ್ ಟೇಕ್ಅವೇಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸರ್ವೆ. It says that Indian economy is strong and has a stable growth outlook. Sir, India is the only fastest growing economy. So India is the only fastest growing economy, right? Strong and stable growth outlook is there. Inflation is under control. Strong external sector. Nodri external sector ಎಷ್ಟು chaotic ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟ್ರಂಪ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಟ್ರಂಪಾಟ್ ಅಂತಾರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವು ಮೀಡಿಯಾ ಪರ್ಸನ್ಸ್. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ಟ್ರಂಪಾಟ್. ಒಂದು ದಿವಸ 50% ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, 100% ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, 500%. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಸ್ಟೆಬಿಲಿಟಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಅಂಡರ್ that is the raw material which is given to us. In that raw material we have to work on that, and that is the reason why we signed a master of the deal with EU, right? So inflation under control, strong external sector, fiscal consolidation and financial sector strength, agriculture and structural changes, infrastructure and investment push. So the economic survey says that there is a need to push infrastructure sector, employment, poverty reduction and social development, human capital and social indicators improving, fiscal focus on deregulation and ease of doing business, strategic shift from resilience to strategic indispensability. So overall, the economic survey is tilting towards Vikasit Bharat 2047, right? So, under that overarching aim, of Vikasit Bharat by 2047, we are having this budget, right? So that is a small step. Which is aiming at Vikasit Bharat. It's going. It's alright. Don't worry. Now we will try to understand some of the budgetary issues, right? India's economic trajectory, or first of all, the budget aims at transform aspiration into achievement. What are aspirations? See, if you look at the development discourse, the 50s, 60s, 70s, the development discourse was roti, kapda and makan. The 90s and 2000, bijli, sadak and pani. Now, kisan, kaam and kamai. So the development discourse is changing. These are the aspirations. So whether we are transforming the aspirations into reality. So this budget is saying that we will transform the aspirations into reality. Potential into performance. What is this potential? We have all the potential. All of you sitting in this room have the potential of completing PhD. But how many of you complete PhD? So you should convert your potential into performance. So the budget is saying that let us try to convert the potential into performance. That is the aim. First one, the issues in the budget. India's economic trajectory. We have achieved stability to some extent. Fiscal discipline, right? Fiscal discipline is important, right? It all started in 1991 when LPG policy was announced. IMF came and told us 5% of the fiscal deficit is mandatory. ಏನಿದೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ₹100 ಇದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ₹105 ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ₹105ಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡಿ 5%. Right? So that is the fiscal discipline in simple terms. If you have an income of 100 rupees, you can go spend 105 rupees. 5 rupees 10 you can borrow. That is the fiscal deficit limit. So we have tried to achieve that. Sustained growth is important, and moderate inflation. Sustained growth plus, see, in economics we make a certain distinction between growth and development. Right? Growth has to happen. Along with that, development should also appear. Otherwise, there is no point in having growth. Right? So inflation is under control. Second and most important issue is high growth rate of around 7%. We are aiming at a high growth rate of 7%. How to achieve this? See, many studies have shown in the Indian context that manufacturing is crippling. Manufacturing sector is crippling, and we need to push the manufacturing sector. So the budgetary provisions have given the importance to domestic manufacturing capacity increase and sustaining it. Right? Energy security. Energy is very important. Which energy? All would say now green energy, renewable energy, green technology. Right? So budget is giving importance to green technology. Reducing imports is nothing but Atmanirbhar Bharat. Our Prime Minister keeps on telling Atmanirbhar. We should be dependent on ourselves, reduce imports. Right? Fiscal prudence, I told you, fiscal prudence is nothing but maintaining the gap here. Monetary stability, right? To what extent monetary stability we have achieved. Trust on public investment. Who should invest in infrastructure? Is it public or private? Private and market, right? All those things. So private investment will come forward only when public investment takes place. So it attracts crowding out and crowding in kind of thing, right? Focus on poor, underprivileged and disadvantaged. Accelerate sustained economic growth. Fulfill aspirations of people. Fulfill aspirations of people. See, if you look at the SDGs, how many goals are there? MDGs, how many goals are there? 26 or 35 goals. These we can consider as aspirations. So, sanitation, water supply, clean drinking water, all weather roads. If you cross about 20 kilometers or 30 kilometers from Hubli Dharwad, many of the villages don't have all weather roads. These are the aspirations, right? And getting water to the tap in the house is an aspiration. Clean toilet is an aspiration. These are the aspirations of the people which need to be fulfilled, right? Vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, that is always there in this government, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, right? Ensure that every family, community, region and sector has access to resources, amenities and opportunities for meaningful participation. This means regional imbalances need to be eradicated, and recently Govindarao committee submitted its report to the government of Karnataka on regional imbalances. So we need to reduce regional imbalances. After Nandanappa committee, we should feel proud that the professor of this department was part of the this committee. Govindarao committee, Professor Bagalkoti was part of that committee. Next issue is sustaining economic growth. How to sustain the growth is an issue. See, growth is inevitable. It has to happen. It should keep on, because if you study population of India, Madhujan Devi or whatever, we are adding one Australia every year, right? In a beautiful word, one can say that we are adding one Australia every year. So those millions of mouths need to be fed through food and other things, right? So we should keep on having that growth, sustained growth. So focus on sustained growth is important. Ensure sustaining economic growth. How can we do this? We can do this by distributing our resources across sectors. And what are the major sectors here? Focus on semiconductors, right? Unfortunately, government of Karnataka lost this opportunity and it went to either Bihar or Andhra Pradesh. I don't know, semiconductors we lost the bus. But on a large scale, semiconductors have been promoted. Biopharma sector is promoted. Rare earths mission. Rare earths mission is very important now. Why? Because for every activity, nuclear activity, electronic activity, whatever, rare earths are important. Why Pakistani Prime Minister is going with a suitcase to Donald Trump? Show that he has rare earths in Pakistan. Where? In Balochistan. So rare earths are catching the attention of all the countries, and China is the major dump yard. It wants to acquire all. So Putin attacked Ukraine and Trump attacked Venezuela. Rare earths. Rare earths are at the center stage now. So every country is interested in collecting the rare earths now. So we are also, and we should feel happy that we have found a huge gas and natural petroleum reserves in India. That's a good news for us. Rare earths mission has been established, reviving 200 industrial clusters. So sustained economic growth, reviving 200 industrial clusters. The next issue is strengthening the foundations of growth. How can we strengthen the foundations of growth? Setting up infrastructure risk guarantee fund to provide prudently calibrated partial credit guarantee to lenders. Establishment of new dedicated freight corridors. Operationalizing 20 national waterways. Setting up of ship repair ecosystem. Launch a coastal cargo production scheme. Launching a seaplane VCF scheme to indigenize manufacturing. 2 lakh crore support to states under SASCI scheme. Purvodaya development of integrated East Coast Industrial Corridor. Now comes the next important issue, people-centric development. Sometime back UNDP said, should we put the development process across people or putting people across the development process, which is important. So UNDP finally said that put people around the development process. That is more important, right? So people-centric. Building a strong care ecosystem, self-help entrepreneurship, Divyangan Kushal Yojana, Divyangan Sahari Yojana, supporting of artificial limbs, training of PM Divyasha in Raj, establishing emergency and trauma care centers in district hospitals, right? Next important thing is trust-based governance, and current events are of ease of importing formalities, simplifying customs formalities, simplified norms for imports and exports payment system. There are so many things here. 50 to 60 items have been listed under simplification. Ease of doing business and ease of living. Motor vehicle accident claims will be exempted. That's the detail I gave there. Motor vehicle claims will be exempt from income tax. Enable depositories to accept from 15G or from 15H from taxpayers holding securities in multiple companies. Honest taxpayers willing to settle disputes will now be able to close cases by paying an additional amount. Fiscal matters. Government has accepted the recommendation of the Commission to retain the vertical share of provision of 41%. Right? fiscal consolidation, central government will target reaching a debt to GDP ratio of 51% by 2030. The debt to GDP ratio is estimated to be 55.6% of GDP in BE 26-27 compared to 56.1% of GDP in RE, revised estimate 25-26. So I will stop here my own observations on the budget, but at the same time we must understand the observations of other scholars. Gurumurthy, a renowned scholar and economist, what he has to say on the budget, that is very important, right? What he has to say is, he says, he focused that the budget is on framework and intent rather than quick one-line praise or criticism. See, he said that budget should be looked at as a framework and intent. What is the intent? Intent is inclusive growth. That is the intent. So don't criticize in one line whether it is good or bad. That should not be the case, right? And he also says budget as a thoughtful and economic strategy. He says that this budget is a thoughtful and economic strategy, and it contains a strategic and long-term focus, emphasis on capital formation and growth, global positioning narrative is very important. Global positioning narrative is there in this budget, fiscal restraint and discipline. So these are the positive things or takeaways from this project, and I hope the discussion will take place after this, and there are 2 more speakers on this. So I sincerely thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable, thought-provoking insights. I now invite Dr. H.H. Birdy, sir, to address the gathering.
It is really a very difficult task for me to maintain the same tempo of the presentation made by Dr. Charankumar sir and Professor Adhikari sir. Respected chief guest, Dr. Charankumar sir, the known chartered accountant in North Karnataka. Another speaker, Professor Adhikari sir, former director, CMDR Dharwad, and our own beloved chairman, Professor B.H. Nandu, the office bearers of the research forum, and my dear students, friends. Day before yesterday, our chairman called me to speak on this in the budget discussion, particularly on agriculture, economics, and agriculture and rural development areas. I immediately agreed and responded positively. So I would like to throw a light on the Union Budget 2026 and 27. And before I going to speak on Union Budget 2026-27, particularly on agriculture sector, I would like to draw your attention what was there in the economic sector. As you all know that before the presentation of the Union Budget on 1st February, one day before, there was an economic survey was presented by the finance minister, and this economic survey actually gives a bird's eye view of the whole economy, as Professor Adhikari sir said, with regards to the performance of the each sectors in the economy, whether it is agriculture or industry, manufacturing or services, whatever will be the sectors, how they are growing, what is their strength, what is their performance, what is the trend of the each sectors in the economy, and what are the challenges and what are the policy implications suggested by the economic survey in the economic survey. So that I just go through the aspects related to the agriculture sector only. So therefore, I would like to highlight some of the important strength of the agriculture sector from the economic survey. The first is growth performance. So while looking into the growth performance of the Indian agriculture, for the last 5 years, Indian agriculture has been growing more than 4.4%. When you look into the last 10 years and 12 years, the average annual growth rate of our Indian agriculture is 4.4% to 4.5%. So it is around 4.5%. So it is really more than that of the global average agriculture growth rate in our country. So therefore, Indian agriculture is really growing very fastly compared to the global growth rate, because it is driven by so many favorable monsoon conditions and so many agriculture related schemes implemented by the central government through its budgetary policies since last several years. And the same economic survey is also suggested that it is expected to grow 3.5% of the gross value addition in 2026-27 financial year. So it is around 3.5%. We are expecting 3.5% in the next year from the economic survey. So in the last several years, it was around 4.5%. So it is short-term growth we are expecting in the next coming year. And similarly, some sectors like horticulture productions. You look into the horticulture productions of India's agriculture sectors, 362 million tons of horticulture productions will be produced in India. So it is really more than that of the food productions. So food production grown by 58 million tons. So this means that our Indian agriculture is completely diverting from traditional agriculture to the modern agriculture. And you look into the another two important subsectors like livestock and allied activities. The livestock growth is 7.1% and fisheries is 8.8%. So totally the agriculture growth is increasing around 4.4%. Livestock is also growing and fisheries is also growing, and poultries and some other occupatory sections were also growing in the Indian economy. And similarly, the second most important survey findings is that changing sector structure, as Dr. Charankumar sir was pointed out, changing sector structure in the sense that the Indian agriculture is completely diverting means livestock is growing, dairy, poultry, fisheries, horticulture. These sectors are growing alarmingly in India. And the third important findings from the economic survey is short-term growth outlook and challenges. So in 2026, means in the next coming year, the gross value added is expecting to grow 3.1%. It is possible, or we are able to achieve this only by the favorable monsoon conditions. If the favorable monsoon conditions are not in favor of India, and definitely we are again failure to achieve the 3.1% growth rate in the agriculture sectors. And next, production stability. So we all know that 358 million tons of leverage productions we have achieved in the last year, that is a 24-25 economic survey is pointed out, and we are planning to maintain the same tempo of growth rate of the agricultural productions. Then productivity and structural challenges. So this is also very important. As Nirmala Sitharaman stated in her budget presentation, there are so many kartavyas. So among them, the productivity is one of the important kartavyas. So kartavyas in the sense that increasing or enhancing the productivity. So in the agriculture sector, suppose we enhance our productivity, definitely we will achieve the 7+ growth rate in the India, and definitely it will be helpful for the achieving the Viksit Bharat 2047. So with keeping in mind, again there are some several constraints which are mentioned in the economic survey. That is lower crop yields in many regions in India, and capital investment in agriculture remains very low, because that's why in this budget they have invited more capital investment, not only in other sectors, even in the agriculture sector also. And similarly, fertilizer imbalances and sustainability issue is also there in the economic survey. We are using more fertilizers. As a result of that, the soil health is also eroded in the Indian agriculture. So therefore, there is a need to better irrigation coverages and soil health interventions in the coming year. This was announced by the finance minister through her budget. And from the economic survey is changing work patterns in rural area. So this is big changes that we have seen in the Indian agriculture. Because one of the important flagship programs of the central government of India was MG scheme. So under that schemes, so many employers, so many employment in the rural areas have been created. Wage employment was created. But now the trend has been changing because earlier those who have depends upon MG schemes for their employment, those people, they have shifted their job, they quit their job and moving towards the diversified occupations. Those people, they are not remains in the same occupations. Now they are shifting towards the fisheries, then poultries, then some other occupations are there. In that occupations, they have jumped. So here I will give some examples which are elicited from the economic survey. In 2021, there were 389 crore jobs were there, but it was reduced to 184 crore in 2026, this year, in the beginning. It means that 205 crore jobs were disappeared in the earlier MG schemes. So this data from the economic survey clearly states that so many people who are residing in the rural areas, they are shifting towards the diversified sectors in the economy for their livelihood. This is one of the important changing work pattern in the rural India. So in response to this, Government of India was announced one act, Grameen Act in 2025. So the full form of this one is Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajivika Mission Act 2025. So this act is aimed to modernize the employment guarantee with a focus on diversified rural livelihoods and job qualities. It means in rural areas, the job qualities have been also improved and the different types of jobs will also created in the rural areas. And the next findings from the economic survey is policy insights from the survey. So that is survey is also recommended that crop diversification is very important, and then the food nutritional security is also very important, and we should also strengthen the allied sectors because of diversification is also taking place, and there is a irrigation gap in the country, and this should be reduced, and more than 500 crore rupees will be invested in the irrigation sector in our country. Then balanced fertilizer use means there is a overuse of fertilizer, urea is going on, but it should be reduced and balanced fertilizer should be used. So these are the important suggestions made in the economic survey to maintain the sustainable growth in the agriculture sectors. One of the strategic role of the India is that India's growth. So India's growth means rural demand should be improved. Rural demand should be improved. Agriculture growth and rural demand should be improved. In the sense that, suppose we want to achieve we want to reach the what we can call the 2047 Viksit Bharat status. So here more than half of the workforce is engaged in agriculture sector, and this agriculture sector is contributing more than 18.5% of the contribution to the total national income India according to this 2026 economic survey. Here rural demand should be promoted. To promote the rural demand, we should create more jobs in the rural areas rather than focusing more on the MG schemes alone. So therefore, this Karnatak Act 2025 and VBG Ramji scheme is also one of the important flagship programs of the government to boost the demand from the rural areas, which helps for the economic growth of India more than 7%. And this economic survey also identified some of the important challenges. Those challenges are like this. low productivity. Actually, in some of the regions in India, agriculture land is having low productivity, means low yield, and irrigation gap is also seen, and this irrigation gap should be removed by extending the agriculture or irrigation facilities. There are some schemes announced in the budget, I will tell you later on. Then fertilizer imbalances, that is excessive use of urea is also going on. As a result of this, the soil erosion also taking place. Then low capital formation, as sir is told, there is a low capital is there. Actually, capital expenditure should be increases. Low capital is there, but we inviting foreign direct investment or foreign capital to invest in India. There are so many sources where given in the budget. So ultimately, what the economic survey is suggesting, that is, crop diversification is essential. Strengthening the allied sectors are very, very important. Reduction in the gap of irrigation facilities is also very, very important. And there should be use of balanced fertilizer use. Then digital agricultural adversary system should be used in the Indian agriculture sectors. I will tell you later on about this one. Then climate resilient farming is also very important. This is suggested in the economic survey. So with this, now I will move it towards the exactly what are the allocations and policy measures taken in the agriculture sectors. In Karnataka state also, first I will tell you the Karnataka. So after the economic survey of India national level and Karnataka's implications. So in Karnataka's point of view, we have a large horticulture crop area, that is 27.14 lakh hectares in Karnataka. So then strong dairy cooperatives, particularly the KMF, you might have heard, the Nandini milk. So 12,334 village level dairy cooperatives are operating in 16 districts, and dryland agriculture in northern districts in Karnataka, particularly Bijapur, Bagalkot and Raichur. And then some of the areas in North Karnataka, they are rainfed areas, and they are receiving less than 600 millimeter rainfall. So in these areas, we have to promote the agriculture. One of the scheme like Kusuma scheme, that is the solar energy pump set, should be implemented in these areas. And these survey findings implies that dairy expansion opportunities is more in Karnataka. There is a growth in livestock aligned with the Karnataka's cooperative dairy models, and solar irrigation and dryland focus is also very, very important. And then horticultural boost, that is, as sir mentioned, coconut, areca nut fruits and some cashew nut fruits productions, because in Karnataka, 320 kilometer Karavali Pradesh is there. In all these areas, coconut, areca nut and all other coastal products are growing, and they are getting more benefit from this scheme in the budget. Now I will move it to the very important aspect of overall allocation of the budget in agriculture sector. So policy measures. One of the important policy measures that we have seen from this budget is AI application in agriculture sector. From harvest, right from sowing to the harvesting, and even from until reaching the market. So we have been using we should use the AI applications, that is in multilingual, Kannada ಬೇಕು ಕನ್ನಡ, ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಬೇಕು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್, ತಮಿಳು ಬೇಕು ತಮಿಳು. ಸೊ ಈ ತರ ಒಂದು ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು AI ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಯಾವ ಬೆಳೆಗಳನ್ನು ಬೆಳೆಯಬೇಕು, ಯಾವಾಗ ಬೆಳೆಯಬೇಕು, ಎಷ್ಟು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಬರ್ತೈತಿ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಇಳುವರಿ ಬರ್ತೈತಿ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಈ ನಮಗೆ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಈ ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಂಫಸೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಮೋರ್ ಆನ್ ದಿ AI driven agricultural advisory in the budget. Then another important policy is crop diversification and value chain. So we have already seen that we are shifting from traditional food grain production to the high yielding varieties crops. ಈಗ ಹಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. Then agro based applications ಗಳಿಗೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. So we have to maintain the 358 million tons of grain productions. It should also increase because our population is also growing more than 1%, 1.5%. To feed these populations, we should also increase the grain productions. We should also increase the horticulture crops which are essential for the human being to maintain the nutritional aspects. Then livestock and dairy. So this dairy and animal husbandry funding 16% increases in this next with regards to this dairy and animal husbandry, 500 crore rupees are going to spent by this government for the upliftment of the entrepreneurship and veterinary infrastructure expansion across the district and tax incentives for field suppliers and cooperatives. And these are the important measures taken in the budgetary with regards to agriculture. And we come to the research and education. So ICAR, Indian Council of Agriculture Research, so which is also very important, which supports for the invention and research in agriculture sectors and rural livelihood and employment. This is very important because BB Gramji program. Now we are moving towards moving from MG Nariga programs to the BB Gramji program. So here the announcement is like this: 95,690 crore rupees is earmarked for the BB Gramji program this year in 2026. And the earlier scheme, MG Nariga, only 36,000 crore rupees was earmarked. So since it is a transitory period, only 36,000. In the next period, I think it will be more from the allocation of the monetary resources to this MG Nariga program. So our employment nature has been will be changed in the rural areas. Then rural infrastructure and water management, water environment is concerned. So Jal Jeevan Mission is one of the important flagship program of the government. So it was introduced in 2019, and for that 67,670 crore rupees was allocated, and it was same what it was in the previous year. Then sanitation 7,190 crore rupees. Then irrigation and renewable energy. Before the beginning of my presentation, I told you that Kusuma is one of the important programs implemented to reduce the gap in the rural agriculture area. So this 500 crore rupees is earmarked for this one. The farmers who are in the dryland region or rain-fed areas, they must avail this program, Kusuma project, Kusuma scheme. As a result of that, by using the solar, they can continue their agriculture activities without depending on the this earlier type of solar energy. Then one more important income support scheme is PM Kishan, and this scheme 63,500 crore is allocated. So income supporting schemes, this will also enhance the income of the farmers. And totally this 26-27 budget signalizing that we are moving from large new infrastructure project to the sustained services, markets and livelihood. It means in the previous so many budgets we went on investing huge money in building the bridges and some other agricultural projects. But we are not doing this. This budget is not focusing on that. But this budget is focusing on the sustaining services in the rural areas, especially the agriculture sectors, and the marketing also, then the livelihood also, because people should live longer. So therefore, they are focusing more on the livelihood, markets, and sustaining the services. And another one is from general welfare spending to targeted livelihood expansion and tech adoption, that is technology adoption. So 2026-27 budget allocations is like this. I will give some statistical information. That is agriculture and allied activities. 1,62,671 crore rupees is going to invest in the coming year. Then rural development sector point of view, 2,73,108 crore rupees. And the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare is approximately 1.40 lakh crore rupees. This budget is going to spend on these areas. Then with regards to subsidies and support, 1.70 lakh crore rupees is to be used for subsidies. Just I will give some comparative pictures of previous budget allocations and this budget allocation, that is 25-26 and 26-27. Only give some, not all. Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, 2.2% allocation of the resources is increased compared to the previous budget. And the Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, it was retained the same. Then Department of Agriculture and Research Education, it was negative 4.6%. Means last year, 10.46 thousand crore rupees was spent on the Department of Agriculture, Research and Education, but this year 9.98 thousand crore rupees is allocated. It means there is a negative money is allocated on the research and education in the agriculture sector. Then fertilizer support schemes, 1.56 lakh crore to 1.70 lakh crore. This 8.97% increases in these areas. Then 18% in Ministry of Fisheries and Animal Husbandry and Dairy because of diversification is taking place. Then Animal Husbandry and Dairy Department, it was 27%, and this one MG Narega it was only 30,000, and VBG Ramji, so 95,690 lakh crore rupees is their market for the these programs. So this speaks that we are completely, our nature of employment has been changing in the rural areas. And coming to the Karnataka's aspects, how this budget is impact on the Karnataka's agriculture, on farmers, rural employment, irrigation and livestock. And agriculture impact is like this. Actually, this kind of amount when the government is planning to spend on agriculture, rural agriculture, there is a higher subsidies, higher fertilizer subsidies. It means those who are growing sugarcane and ragi, paddy and cotton farmers in Karnataka, they will be get more benefit of the this higher fertilizer subsidies. And similarly, in Karnataka, as you all know that we have 320 kilometer coastal areas. In these areas, most of the farmers are growing coconut and horticulture crops, and they will also get the benefit of this schemes. Then dairy allocations. So as I told you, in the 16 districts, so many farmers, using the Nandini and other, that is there also it is used for our farmers. Then water and irrigation, Jal Jeevan Mission, Kusuma, dairy and livestock, and totally we are moving from huge physical infrastructure to the modernized livelihood and employment-oriented investment in the agriculture. So totally I am trying to conclude like this. We are keeping in mind the Viksit Bharat 2047. So government is transforming from MG Naregas to the VBG Ramji. Then there is a structural shift from traditional agriculture class to the diversified farming. That is most important. That will create different types of jobs in the rural areas. And there is also an emphasis on the rural demands, role in macroeconomic stability, because unless we strengthening the farmers' income in the rural areas, it is very difficult to maintain this 1+ growth rate, GDP growth rate in India. So therefore, our finance minister and the present government is emphasizing more on the increasing the rural demand also. So with this, I thanks to Dr. Naku sir and the Department of Economics for giving this opportunity to present my few thoughts with regards to the union budget, particularly on the agriculture sector.
Thank you, Gauri sir, for your inspiring and valuable insights. I now respectfully invite Dr. B.H. Nagu sir to deliver the presidential remarks.
ಫಸ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಒಂದು ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ನೀವು ರಾತ್ರಿ ಅದು ನಮಗೆ ಏನೋ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಿವಿಯಸ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ಸ್ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುವ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿದಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಾನು ಕೇವಲ 5 ನಿಮಿಷ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಯಶವಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ, ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತೆ. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಜಸ್ಟ್ 5 ನಿಮಿಷ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Respected chief guest of today's one-day seminar on topic Union Budget 2026. Dr. K.A. Charantivat sir, Chartered Accountant, Padi, and two experts, guest speakers of the day, Dr. Vinod Andigiri sir, former Director, CMR Dharwad, and Senior Professor of Department, Padi sir, and Secretary of Economic Research Forum, Sri Sachin Purare, and faculty member of the department, and other office bearer of the Economic Research Forum, Anand Nindi, Anand Pujar, and dear research scholars and student friends. ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ನೀವು ಬಜೆಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಚರಂತಿ ಮಾಡ್ಸೋರಂತೂ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಬಜೆಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಕೇಳೋದಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ವಿಶೇಷತೆ. ಅವರು ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ರೋ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, and importantly, he elaborately spoke on budget and its impact on taxation. He even went to the minute details of each and everything, and most importantly, focusing on what are the changes which they brought in, and he tried to make you to understand how it was earlier and how they tried to make it think and how it impacts. And in conclusion, he also said no big bang change in this budget overall, and also particularly taxation. And followed by two economists, Andigiri sir and Baldi sir. Andigiri sir rightly presented in the beginning that as economic students, we need to understand the components of budget and what really stands for. And you also focused on, important aspect which is most concerning to you, that how this budget is USFD driven. And just listen to our senior colleague, but it is that how budget focuses on agriculture and rural development. You also presented data on economic survey of 2025-26. So now I am in a tricky situation what to speak. I think almost all things have been covered. So just I will just touch upon some of the aspects of the Union Budget 2026-27. So I am the one who observed the budgets since so many years. So I am a bit happy when we look at the fiscal discipline which the finance minister has been followed since so many years. That too in the post-pandemic period, so she tried her level best to contain the revenue expenditure. And the most important aspect of the budget which made me so happy and about the at least 10 to 11 lakh crores on capital expenditure from the last 4-5 years to see. And that capital expenditure is on infrastructure, both physical and digital infrastructure. So as an economics student, what we need to see is, so we say that revenue expenditure is not encouraged. The revenue expenditure, as you know, that expenditure we spend just to maintain some of the committed expenditure, like the salary, defense, and interest rate. That doesn't really add any new economic assets in the economy. And capital expenditure we always treat welcome, and they are in the nature of creating new economic assets in the economy, which are more of employment oriented and add to the economy, it will add to the GDP. Or a country like India, where we have a budget size of 45 to 50 lakh crores, talking about last 4 years, spending 10 to 12 lakh crores in capital expenditure is really excessive. And another important thing which we need to look into as an economics student is that revenue expenditure are under control. So revenue expenditure, revenue deficit is of around 1.5%. And another important thing we need to look into is, though elections are nearer, the elections are nearer in few states, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Assam, Kerala. So no populist measures have been announced. Generally what we see is that if elections are nearer, there will be populist measures. That kind of populist measure we don't see in this, not only in this budget, even from the last few budget. And as Charantivat said that even our looking, the budget is visionary in the sense that, particularly talking about the financial aspect, she has proposed to reduce our debt burden. That she has proposed to reduce the debt GDP ratio from present to around 55% to 50%. It is very important when you compare it to other nations of the world, as Charantivat sir has given data that how the debt GDP ratio is very high in some of the other countries of the world. Now coming to some critical aspect of budget, so the nominal GDP is expected to increase by 10%. Nominal GDP 10% ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು expect ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Generally at 10% ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮದು budget size ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Generally we expect that just GDP ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ನಮ್ಮದು budget size ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಬೇಕು. So but budget size 50 lakhs crores ಇಂದ 53 lakhs crores 7% ಜಾಸ್ತಿ. So at least ಆತರ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ we have to make lot of effort. If you want to make increase your budget size as per the increase in the nominal GDP, then you have to put a lot of tax, increase in the revenue side. When it comes to the revenue side, number GDP ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಂಗೆ, so whether it has resulted in increase in the revenue gap. So as an economics student, we need to look at all of the GDP ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯಿತು 7% real GDP. Each our absolute revenue has increased, but tax GDP ratio, you got tax GDP ratio, some of the developed nations in the range of 35 to 40%. 1 rupee GDP just plus 40 paisa tax. But in India, it is in the range of 18 to 19%. Central tax, state tax, central transport, it is only in the range of 18%. Of course, it is on increase slightly, but for a developing country, 18% is considered good. But there are certain areas which they should have looked into. With due respect to all professional taxpayers, so I am talking about where they can increase the tax base. Where that they should have looked into. Number ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು tax eligibility. Tax ಇಂದ ತಪ್ಪಿಸಬಹುದು ಅಂತ. It's a good that Charantivat has mentioned that it has changed the budget. They have brought in, the technology in the tax filing, and most importantly, India said that 75,000 rupees fine. Discretionary always creates problem in your country. I mean, wrong. You over discretionary ಕೊಟ್ರಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವೇನಾದ್ರು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಅವೇನಾದ್ರು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಬಹಳ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ನನಗೆ ಹಾಗಾಗಿದೆ when you feel discretionary, in my opinion, discretionary is always. Now they have made it compulsory. No discretionary in Canada, 75,000. See, and such kind of the what we called the normally the application of technology must be used. For instance, in this country, still in spite of all there is so much of circulation of black. ಯಾಕೆ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಡಿಜಿಟಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು? Maybe wrong also. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಡಿಜಿಟಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ anybody spends more than 5,000 rupees at one store should be brought into the income. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಇದು ಹಾಕಬೇಕು ನಮ್ದು ಪ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೌದಾ? Where that money goes? Of course, see, there are a lot of avenues in this. For instance, you take some Western countries, all kinds of transactions are digitalized. ಎಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಒಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಲೇಬರಿಗೆ ಸಹಿತ ನಾವು ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಚೆಕ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಎಲ್ಲ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ OECD ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅಮೆರಿಕ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, UK ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಏನಾದ್ರು ಒಬ್ಬರು ನಾನು ಒಬ್ಬ ಲೇಬರಿಗೆ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಥ್ರೂನೇ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ನಾನು ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ನನ್ನ ರೆವೆನ್ಯೂ ಇದೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಖರ್ಚು ಇದೆ, ನನ್ನ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಥ್ರೂನೇ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು. ಅಷ್ಟು ನಾವು ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ನಂದು ಖರ್ಚು ನನಗೆ ಪಗಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದದ್ದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Why that government is not coming up with such kind of measures which common people want it, common people appreciate it? See, there is a huge spending of the money which is not coming to this circle. That is in terms of lakhs and crores. And also, as I said, there is a lot of tax everything, corporate tax everything in the place, professional tax. For instance, the doctors, I do respect to only number tax salaried people. If you take overall income tax, salaried people are taxed more, and escape are low rate. So what I am trying to say is, what it is being already implemented in some of the states, I am not talking about a new things here. So why not, the Indian government should think of all such new ideas, drastic, maybe looks drastic, but I feel these are things that are need of the hour. And take for instance, higher education, particularly private sector, they are running out of profit, thousands of crores of rupees profit, but they are not taxed. No private institution come forward to establish institution for them without profit, but that is not being taxed. And agriculture, ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು income agriculture sector type of that use, but there is not being taxed. So what I am trying to say here is, there is a lot of scope in the taxing, making our revenue capability, and use that money where that money is very much required, particularly for skilling the youth. But in ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ youth ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? Around educated youth in the age between 18 to 20 years, 23 people like you, that is around 30 to 40 crores. And 70% of undergraduate do not possess any employment skill. And I will tell you the data, 60% of the class enrollment is in BA, BSc, BCom. Other employment illa. I don't know, think of adding skill. And why talk to this world is easy, Europe is easy, America is easy, only educated youth ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ. So they are finding it difficult to, they find the educated youth to work there. So India is a potential for that. India has developed a dividend in that. So see, we are only talking about skill, but how much really it is? So NEP ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಇವತ್ತು ಏನು NEP ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಅಂತ except changing the syllabus here and there. See, we have since Karnatak University Dharwad 6% GDP education spend ಮಾಡಿ ಏನು ಇರದಾನೆ ಇರಬೇಕು 4%. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತಿತ್ತಲಾಗಿದ್ರು financing the higher education through pathetic public universities. So I will tell you, 12 university ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜ್ಯಗಳ ಒಂದು ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಪರ್ಮನೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕಲ್ಟಿ 65-70% ಸೀಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ vacant. ಈ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಂದ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಗ್ರಾಂಟ್ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. See, no country can develop without strong in education itself. And no country can become a Viksit Bharat without invention and innovation. You name any country in the world without strong in education, without strong in innovation and innovation. Name me any Indian product which has a global competitive. ನಮ್ದೊಂದಾದ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಈಗೇನೋ Paytm ಏನು ಬರ್ತಾವ ಅದೇನೋ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿ. You name any product in the world where India has a competitiveness, where is the competition ಹೆದರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, we are all consumers of a major product. And we take mobile, how technology gets changed in mobile. ಈ ವರ್ಷ 2 ವರ್ಷ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಮತ್ತೊಂದು 2 ವರ್ಷ ಇರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. So we need invention and innovation. How much we are spending on research and development? It is on decline. See, what I am trying to say is, of course, finance ministry has certain constraints to do all these things. There are so many, the expectations from all these things. This is how I am trying to look at the Indian budget in terms of addressing the project priority. And I was expecting that at least take health insurance. ಒಬ್ಬರ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ನ ಮನೆ ಅವ್ನ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಮುಗಿದ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶಗಳು ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್ ಕವರೇಜ್ 100%. ನೀವು ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಯುರೋಪ್ US ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ರಿ, ಬರೇ ನೀವು 4 ದಿವಸ ಪ್ರವಾಸ ಹೋಗಿದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಇರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ವಿದೌಟ್ ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ರಿ. See, why we should think of some kind of innovative things and big drastic the reforms which we brought in 1991 and followed in in terms of GST also. There's a lot of things to discuss, but overall, looking at the physical prudence, I don't know what constraint they have to think of what I have said. Just know that also need to be looked into. It doesn't mean that they will not be doing all these things. There will be some limitations, some constraints for democratic country like India, and any political party, the first priority is to get elected in the next time. So whether that has become first priority. If you take any political party, the first priority is to how to get elected, to break the policy towards that, not to touch upon the major issues which affects the coming to the power in the next election. That has become the major issue. They look into when they that we need to look into when we frame the policy. Why I am telling this one is from the last many years we have been looking at big major reforms in terms of labor laws, in terms of land laws, and there was a farm bill. It was very wonderful. Farm bill was wonderful. That farm bill, should have brought a major, the livelihood impact on farmers. Adu naಮಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗುತ್ತದೆ that they withdraw. The bill which is being passed in the parliament. So why I think that there is a lack of political will to take with the major reforms that is very much required if you want to achieve Viksit Bharat. We have been telling that Viksit Bharat by 2047. Viksit Bharat by 2047 will be achieved only India registered growth rate in the range of 9 to 10%. If we have the growth rate of 9 to 10%, we will have a domination. Today, our per capita income GDP is around 2,800. Developed nation of per capita GDP is 10,000 crores, more than 4 times. See, so if you want to reach more than 4 times, so what are your plans? So you have to take each and every one. I am telling the income inequality in this country is surprise. Top 1% of the population in this country owns 40% of overall wealth of this country. The bottom 50% population owns only 1% of the wealth. How do you try to plug this? This is only possible only if you provide education that is of taking care of everyone, the development process. Mere education will not suffice. You provide education along with the skill, and education only can, break the vicious circle of the poverty. Only the education can break the occupational structure, the social, there is so much of occupational, in the rural area, very difficult upward social mobility. Hಳ್ಳಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಕಂಬಾರಿಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಂದ್ರೆ ಕಂಬಾರಿಕೆ ಬಿಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕಂಬಾರಿಕೆಯಿಂದ ಕುಂಬಾರಿಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ only education can be the thing. So what I'm trying to say is, the sustainability of the, this country for the long term. There is a need of inclusivity in the development process. When development takes place, everybody should take part in the the development. I think I'm deviating from the discussion, but what I'm trying to say is we need to have the positive governance. Because we have the stable government, this is absurd. Okay? There is no problem of any political stability. So we're expecting, still, of course, there are appreciable. There are some, definitely agree that there are some, what is called a bright spot we noticed, but expectations were more than what I see in the overall these things, and there is, I don't take much time. I think we already crossed through, but still, with all the new things which I said that should have been taken care of the budget, but when it comes to financial discipline and all, they have taken care, not attracted to the published pages, and there are some bright spots in terms of, say, 5 new universities. Now, one thing is coming to my mind when you say that university. In spite of so much problems in 1950s and 60s, we were able to establish world-class education institutions. Institutes of Science, AIMS. In spite of many central universities which are coming up, why we are not able to establish of these higher education institutions of that reputation. If you go to anywhere in the world, if you say that IIT, they'll recognize. In spite of so many problems, space research we started in 1950s. Atomic, atomic energy, nuclear, all kinds of basics. We were able to start. So this question is bothering me. Why we are not able to, have? But China, look at it. Today, China, now they have the top 5. China's top literally. They are going China used to be top 100 at least dozens of China. Actually, China, we were better than China in 90s. So it reminds me, that we need to look into, instead of looking into how we have progressed, we have to compare with others. That really to compare with the comparison. Okay. Take for instance Asian tigers, where they are ahead and where we are. So why I am talking about this in the recent in the era of liberalization and privatization, where there is a pushing of private sector, there is a need of a state to be as a regulator, as a facilitator, making it growth as a more inclusive and so I was expecting for the budget to talk about all these. Take for example agriculture. ನಮ್ದು ಆಲ್ಮಟ್ಟಿ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಅವಾಗ ಏನೋ ಕಟ್ಟಿಬಿಟ್ಟರು ಈಗ 5 ಮೀಟರ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ 519 ಮೀಟರ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಕಟ್ಟರು ಅವಾಗ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು 519 ರಿಂದ 524 ಮೀಟರ್ ಏರಿಸಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಚರ್ಚೆನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಭದ್ರಾವತಿ ಇರೋದು ಪ್ರತಿ ವರ್ಷ ಭದ್ರಾವತಿ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ 5 ಮೀಟರ್ ಬರೀ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಾಗೆ ಯಾವ್ದು 10,000 ಕೋಟಿ ಮೋರ್ ದೆನ್ 2 lakhs ಈಗ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಸಾಧ್ಯನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಮೋರ್ ದೆನ್ 1 lakh ಕೋಟಿ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಬರೀ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಕ್ವಿಸಿಷನ್ಗೆ 1 lakh ಕೋಟಿ ಬೇಕು. ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ 1 lakh? ಬರೀ 10,000 crores ಹೊಸ ಬಿಡಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ಒಂದು ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಥೌಸಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಹೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇದು ನಮಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಿಗೇಷನ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಥೌಸಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಹೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಿಗೇಷನ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅವಾಗ ವಿಶೇಷವಾದ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಕಟ್ಸಿದ್ವು. ಈಗ ಹೊಸ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಕಟ್ಸಿದ್ರು ಎರಡವೇ ಇತ್ತು. ಒಡೆದಿದ್ದ ಗೇಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಯೂಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಒಂದು ಯಾವ್ದು ಚಿಕ್ಕಲಿಗೆ ಗೇಟ್ ಹೊಡೆದು ದಿನಾಲು ನೀರು ಇಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ maybe wrong also. These are the things we need to look at. Why this is not happening? Now parliament dam Kaveri Krishna ಈಗ ನಾವು ಹತ್ರ ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ಹೊಸ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿಸ್ತಾ ಅರ್ಧತೆ ಇದೇನಾ? So these are things we need to look into, and I don't know how this. So with this, I thank all the the speakers, Janathan sir and other 2 guest speakers, Bari sir and Nathika sir, and most importantly you all for the patient listening. With this, I conclude my lesson.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Shri Anand Pujari, Research Scholar, KUD, to propose the vote of thanks.
ಸತತ 2 ತಾಸುಗಳ ಕಾಲ ನಾವು 2 ಅಥವಾ 4 ಬಹಳ ಯಾವುದೇ ಗಲಾಟೆ ಮಾಡದೆ ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸೊ respected dignitaries, esteemed guests, professors, research scholars and PG students. At the outset, on the behalf of Department of Economics, Canara Bank Chair and Economic Research Forum, Karnatak University Dharwad, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who have contributed to successful organization of today's one-day seminar on Union Budget 2026. I express my sincere and profound thanks to our chief guest, Dr. N.A. Charantiman,
Sir, Chartered Account Ubali, for graciously accepting our invitation and for delivering insightful and analytical rich addressing. So, thank you, sir. I am deeply grateful our distinguished guest speaker, Dr. Vinod Andigeri, sir, former director CMDR Dharwad, and sharing his vast experience and scholarly insights. Really wonderful, sir, as a specialist on health economics. Sir, thank you, sir. I extend my respectful thanks to Dr. H.H. Bardi, sir, senior professor and coordinator of Economic Research Forum, Karnatak University Dharwad, for his valuable contribution, academic guidance. Thank you, sir. I convey my sincere thanks to Dr. B.H. Nagur, sir, Chairman and Coordinator, Canara Bank Chair, Department of Economics, Karnataka University Dharwad, for as constant encouragement, leadership and effective coordination. Really, thank you, sir. I extend my respectful thanks to all my lovely professors and non-teaching staffs. Thank you. And Dr. Manoj Dolli, sir, and Dr. N.S. Mugdur, sir, and Dr. S.B. Nari, sir, and Dr. Kadam, sir, all professors. Thank you. I would like to place to record my gratitude to Mr. Sachin Kurade, Secretary, Economic Research Forum, for his dedicated effort and organizing. Another one, Joint Secretary, Mr. Anand MB, Economic Research Forum, for his active involvement and coordination. Thank you. Finally, I extend my gratitude to all those who have directly and indirectly contributed to successful of this academic event. Thank you. And lastly, thanks for PG students for coming. We will arrange working lunch, so please join us. So thank you, Rasi.